it's Elise, and I'm here for another teen book spotlight here at Bowman Library, and we're in the teen area, so why not talk some books? Our theme for this week is all about books that have been made into movies, and if you're like me, the majority of these movies that are based on books, I find that the book is always better than the movie. So, we're going to be featuring 6 titles today that have all been turned into movies. And some of them may be ones you've heard of before, some of them maybe you never even heard of the book or the movie, or you heard of the movie and didn't even realize it was a book. So, let's see what we have in store for today. Our first one is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. Connor is struggling with a lot. He's being bullied at school, he feels completely alone, his father has a new family and has decided to move to the United States, and his mother has been diagnosed with cancer and she's undergoing treatment. When he falls asleep at night, he starts to have these incredible nightmares, and one night, he wakes up and he realizes that the monster from his nightmare is actually in his room, towering over him. The monster tells him 3 stories. And in order for the monster to tell him 3 stories, Connor has to agree that he's going to have to tell the 4th story, but he doesn't exactly know what that is yet. The monster goes through his 3 stories and he tells Connor the story that he needs to hear is probably the scariest thing of all. It's the truth. Connor is forced to face the things that are going on in his life, leading to this epic realization that you as the reader will have at the same time Connor does with this amazing writing that Patrick Ness does. A Monster Calls. How I Live Now by Meg Rozoff. So this is probably one of the original dystopian YA books that kind of got attention. So this is about 15-year-old Daisy. She's living in New York City, and instead of facing some of the challenges and difficulties she's having head on, her father decides to kind of ignore the issue by sending her away to the English countryside to live with members from her deceased mom's family who she's never met before. So she goes to live with her aunt and her cousins, and at first things are doing okay. They're falling into an easy rhythm. She's finding her place on the farm, and things are going okay. And then her aunt has to go away on a business trip, and while her aunt is away, hostile soldiers invade England, and they kind of take the country over. And they get to the farm where Daisy and her family are living, and they separate the guys from the girls. And it is then up to Daisy to take care of her youngest cousin, Piper, and she needs to keep her safe and alive. You will find yourself going through all the same emotions, the anxiety, the anger, and even encouragement that Daisy goes through while she is going through this horrific event. It also examines the effect that war can have not only on land and society, but also on individuals. How I Live Now. The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily Danforth. So Cam is just 12 years old when she finds out she's been orphaned after her parents are killed in a car accident. But her first feeling when she finds out this horrific news is guilt, and some relief, because she, at the time that this was happening to her parents, she was kissing a girl, and now she doesn't kind of have to explain her actions. She ends up having to move with her conservative aunt to Montana to help her grandmother, but it is also there that they go to make Cam straight by sending her to a church, and they're going to be kept on the straight and narrow path. When Cam gets caught with another girl, she is sent to God's Promise, which is a conversion camp, but when she gets there, she meets other people who are just like her, and she finds the courage to be who she is meant to be, which is kind of the opposite goal. This book has a ton of layers and topics which are addressed, but probably most important of all is watching Cam find the strength to be herself and to deal with the guilt from her childhood and all of the other feelings and emotions. Miseducation of Cameron Post. One of the all-time classics, The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. Pony Boy and his two brothers are doing the best they can to survive after the death of their parents. There are two types of people in their world, though. The Socks, who seem to have everything as they are the rich kids, and the Greasers, who are the guys on the other side of the tracks, such as Pony Boy, his brothers, and their friends. The Socks and Greasers have always been getting into trouble with each other, from like picking on each other to fighting to damaging each other's property. But one night it goes too far and a Sock ends up dead, and the culprit is Pony Boy's best friend, leading to dilemmas and choices that can change everything for everyone. This classic story is just as good as the first time you read it, as it's the 15th book. It is an amazing book. And this is one of the few I could probably say the movie is pretty awesome too. The Outsiders. If I Stay by Gail Forman. So it's a snowy day and Mia is stuck in the car with her family, which is the last place she wants to be in. And in the blink of an eye, though, she is in the car, but then she is outside of her body looking at this horrific car accident that just occurred to her family. As she tries to decide and figure out what's happening, she sees her body being taken away, being brought to the ambulance because she is in this life-threatening coma. Mia is between life and death, and she's being given a choice to decide what she wants. Does she want to live, or does she want to die? As she struggles to make this decision, we as readers experience flashbacks to events in her past, which may sway her decision one way or the other. You will find yourself right there with Mia, wondering what is she going to choose, and you can't help but ask yourself, what would you do if you were in that position? This is the first in a series of novels that follow these characters, If I Stay. And our last one is Everything, Everything by Nicola Yoon. So Maddie suffers from a condition known as severe combined immunodeficiency. Basically, she doesn't have an immune system. She is 18 years old and she has never left her house, and the only people she has contact with are her mother and her nurse. One day though, a new family moves next door and she sees Ollie, who is her age, and he kind of sees her and kind of wants them to be friends. They soon start to communicate with each other, starting, first through the window and then moving to online and then eventually in person. When she notices that Ollie is being abused by his dad, as well as other members of his family are suffering this same tragedy as well, she decides she needs to risk everything and she needs to do what she can to protect her only friend. If you are looking for a realistic book that has romance and an epic plot twist, then this is the book for you. Everything, Everything. So these are just 6 of the books that we have here at Bowman that have been turned into movies. So if you are looking for a book into a movie, but these maybe didn't sound appealing to you and you want to find something else, feel free to come on in and we will help you find the book that you're looking for. I hope to see you next week when we have a new teen book spotlight with a completely different theme, and have a great week.